Closed captioning for the Casey Malone Show is sponsored by Hunter Stevens Land Title Agency. Integrity, service, and commitment you can trust.
Oh yeah, Casey Malone is serving up local. It's time for the stories of our region, the tastes, the sights, the sounds, and the people in and around the valley. Get ready for some local flavor on the Casey Malone Show.
Today we learn about the Warner Brothers roots in Youngstown and Newcastle. And I make an easy mac and cheese recipe from Anthony Bourdain's mother. But first, the YSU women's bowling team, national champs. Well, this is Amanda Granata, and she is a national champion. That's right, the YSU Penguins brought home the national championship for the women's bowling. And Amanda is a Jersey girl. Now, did bowling bring you here, or was it your education?
I definitely found out about Youngstown through bowling first. The team would actually come to a couple tournaments in Jersey, so I was able to go watch through high school. And I definitely liked, obviously they were such a great team then, so they were always at the top of rankings. And then I met a lot of the girls just through other friends I have through bowling, and it was great, and I loved their atmosphere. And then when I got to my junior year of high school, Coach Doug had reached out to me just through like Messenger and said like, hey, you're great, let's bring you on a visit. So I came out to my visit in
That's cool.
March of my junior year and committed in April.
Wow, so there is bowling scholarships. I mean,
Yes,
they
yes.
are looking now. This is really going to up the ante for our bowling.
It definitely
recruiting.
should, yes, and more girls should definitely get into it. There's so many scholarships out there for women's bowling.
Why bowling? What made you so interested in bowling?
So I have family who put me through leagues when I was really little. So actually my cousin Ryan, he passed when he was 19 in a car accident a couple months before I was born. I am named after him, I'm Amanda Ryan, but he was a huge bowler, and I definitely tried to continue on his legacy a bit. So my mom put me in leagues at young ages, and then when I was 12, I won a New Jersey state tournament, and that qualified me for Junior Gold Championships, which is a national tournament. And I went there for the first time ever when I was 12 and absolutely sucked. Did terrible. Terrible, one of the worst
And you didn't
people.
walk away, you said,
No,
I will beat this.
Yes, I said I want to learn how to do what those girls just did.
Right.
So I went in, and ever since then I've improved on my game, and I bowled more competitively after that, so.
See,
now I'm
Ryan
here.
is your spirit animal. He was looking out for you.
Oh yeah.
So the Holiday Bowl in Struthers is HQ. This is the practice headquarters for the YSU girls Penguins. And Doug Kaburski is their coach. And you were a college bowler yourself.
In a different century, I was a college bowler myself. Yes.
Nebraska. I mean, that is a haul.
Yeah.
And could you see any difference between bowling back when you were in school to now?
Oh, definitely. The game has evolved. I mean, pretty much every 3 to 4 or 5 years, the game changes significantly. So yeah, you can imagine the last 20 plus years that I've been out of college bowling, the game's evolved, and you have to evolve as a coach and as a player too.
So what is it? Like the balls?
Yeah, it's like any other sport. You have technology advancements, lane conditions, the coaching advancements. The players are more talented than ever. The coaching is incredible across the board. Your power, your rev rates are up across the board. I mean, if you look at old videos from the 90s compared to now on the ESPN tapes,
right,
it's incredible how much the game is advanced and it's changed.
What do you think about your new talent coming in?
Yeah, it's we're shifting gears now. Obviously, we had a lot of wonderful celebrations the last 2-3 weeks and enjoying our time together as they finish up their finals. But we're excited. Yeah, the talent's amazing. The personalities I think are going to be fun to work with, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they're all going to mesh and create a new identity for themselves.
Well, Hannah Miller is another returning bowler, because you're losing a lot to senior status.
Yeah.
When did your passion for bowling start?
I am one that you would call a late bloomer. I did not start bowling until my freshman year of high school.
And then you just really fell in love with it.
Yeah, so my high school coach had worked with my father, and I played softball and volleyball at the time. And I was like, sure, let's add one more sport, which was a winter sport. And he's like, just come out and bowl. And here we are.
you think it's kind of an old-fashioned thing, and I mean, you guys are all hip and young, and, you know, it's really not at all.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think it's on the uptick now? Do you see it becoming more popular?
It's definitely on the uptake. For a while there, it was a lot of bowling alleys were shutting down, a lot of, prices were skyrocketing, and it just kind of became one of those things that bowling is something that once you get to this age, most of them have started when they were younger.
Right.
So trying to get the youth back into it, which I feel like is starting to happen. So we're going to start seeing that rise again.
And hey, even just locally, knowing that we've got national champions right here at our university.
Exactly.
You're going to go pro?
I've thought about it. My career path might be one that's kind of hard to go pro with.
What do you want to do?
I'm a mechanical engineering
Okay,
major.
well, yeah, it might pay better.
Yeah, so always kind of had the dream to go work for NASA. I love rockets, I love spaceships.
And right up in Cleveland, we've got a big center.
Yeah, bowling is not obviously just about skill, it's about the team and the team dynamic. And I've bowled with the same girls on the same team for 3 years since I've been here because we haven't lost anybody due to the COVID years. And so we're really going to work hard to try to keep that special bond that we've had and try to bring it and re-spark it.
You came so close last year, and now, but you
exactly.
delivered. Well, this is Kara, and she is you were the only freshman on the team.
Yes.
So you're going to be carrying the weight for the next couple of years.
We'll see, but yeah.
Now, I am learning a lot of stuff, so I want you guys to know some stuff. Now, I am these are my rental shoes that I got right here from Holiday Bowl. See, these aren't what bowling shoes are like anymore. Now, explain to me how these work.
Okay, these are SST8s by Dexter. So on this side you have the rubber so that you can't slide. And then on this side you have the slide, which are interchangeable, so you can take them off. In case you go to like a bowling alley that's a little bit stickier, you can put a higher number on and it slides more. And then you can change the sole as well.
Now, is this what everybody's wearing now, the bowlers?
Most people do wear them. I know the girls have a different type. They still have Dexter, but I actually had to get these ones because my feet are too big.
Do you have a pretty pronounced hook when you bowl?
It depends. Like sometimes yes, and then sometimes no. It really just depends on the pattern. Like this one on this lane is 37 feet. So that means that 37 feet on the lane, there's no more oil. It's gonna hook. The lower the number.
Bowling lanes aren't the same length?
No, the bowling lanes are. The pattern is not. Oh. So 37 feet, when you go down to 37 feet, even if you go on the side, you can see where the oil stops. And that means your ball is going to hook. So 37 feet is counted as short. When you go above 40, it's like medium.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
All these nuances.
A lot of things go into bowling since I was 4. This is what we get before every tournament. This is a sport shot.
And that just shows how
the lane is laid down. That's what the oil looks like on the lane.
The oil is flat, but then the topography can affect it too.
And is it always the same oil?
No.
What kind of oil is used on the bowling lanes?
Yes.
There's also Prodigy.
Yeah.
All of the other ones that just evaporate.
I only know fire and ice.
Yeah.
They evaporate faster or slower, and some of them are a little bit thicker, and which makes them evaporate a little bit slower, and they don't move on the lane as much, and it completely changes how a pattern can play depending on what type of oil is used.
Do they ever re-oil in the middle of a match?
No. For college, no. So us bowling on Friday and us bowling on Saturday, it would be the same pattern, but they re-oil in the morning on Saturday.
It just keeps changing,
Yeah.
the shoes, the balls. I mean, it's just, I guess it keeps up with technology. But I mean, it's still going to be the same thing, right? Mm-hmm. Still going to be
Same goal of hitting the same 10
pins.
pins.
Right. Just stay in your own lane. The Casey Malone Show will be right back after this.
This is GABA Camp, barrier-free camping and nature for our friends with disabilities. Thank you for your generous donations. We now have our first phase, but more work needs to be done. A lodge will provide a meeting place and food service for our adults with disabilities and their families. GABA Camp is a 501c3 organization. We need your help to grow. Donate to GABACamp. Giving is living.
You already know us for our top-tier windows, but what about our advanced gutter systems? With our Double Pro gutter filtration, 2 layers of industrial-grade aluminum keeps debris out of your gutters and drives rainwater away from your home. Plus, our continuous hanger technology reinforces your entire gutter system for maximum strength and drainage. And we'll install it all in as little as 1 day. Why wait for the next storm to get gutters that perform? Not only do we stand behind our gutters, we hang on them.
Sweet Memories Vintage Teas and Candy in Liberty, a store like no other. Step through our doors and travel back in time. Remember the nostalgic candy, vintage sodas, and retro toys you thought were gone forever? You'll find all your classic favorites and so much more. Because memories are best when shared, we give back to local charities. Sweet Memories Vintage Teas and Candy, bringing you joy one memory at a time.
Hi, I'm John Stanko.
And I'm Robbie Fellman from Boardman Subaru, introducing the all-new 2025 Subaru Forester Hybrid.
The most fuel-efficient Forester ever with up to 40% better fuel economy.
And over 580 miles of driving range per tank of gas.
With increased horsepower and torque while being the lowest emissions Forester ever.
The Forester is one of the best-selling and most award-winning SUVs in America.
Test drive yours today at Boardman Subaru.
Just south of Route 224 on South Avenue.
It's patio season at Carmela's. Enjoy our family's traditional Italian favorites and creative daily specials. We're open for lunch and dinner Monday through Saturday. Carmela's on Western Reserve Road in Boardman.
Shop C-Max Northside Appliance in Struthers, the local appliance store that beats big box prices every day.
3 generations serving Youngstown, Ohio, soon to be our 4th.
You better come on in my kitchen.
Today I'm going to share a really great recipe with you. I love macaroni and cheese. It is the perfect food. It's cheesy and creamy, and the noodles. Well, it does take a little bit of work when you make it from scratch, because you have the roux, then you have the cheese and all the different milks and all that stuff. But I found this recipe. It is from Gladys Bourdain. It is Anthony's mother, and it's called baked macaroni and cheese. And it is so quick, easy, and simple that you might start making it this way all the time. Very few ingredients. You're only going to use the pot that you boil the noodles in, and then the baking dish. That's it. Those are all the dishes that you're going to dirty up. So I've made this a few times. It's really good, it's easy, and I am excited to share it with you. So let's go over the ingredients, and we are going to make Gladys Bourdain's baked mac and cheese. For this recipe, you'll need 1 pound of short macaroni, like an elbow, penne, or shells, 3/4 teaspoon of salt, pepper to taste, 16 ounces, about 4 cups of shredded sharp cheddar cheese, 2 tablespoons of stick butter, and 1 quart, 4 cups of whole milk. Preheat your oven to 400 degrees. I've got the water boiling, so I'm going to drop in my noodle. It's a cavatappi. It's like a little springy elbow. And cook it 3 to 4 minutes under what they recommend. This is 11, so I'm gonna cook this for about 7 minutes. Well, I drained the noodles and I greased the pan, and we will now start assembling this. It's almost like a scallop potato. You do it in thirds. So you're gonna take about 1/3 of the noodles. That looks about right. And then you will salt and pepper. And we're gonna add about 1/3 of the cheese. All right. And a reminder, I've told you this before, you know, they put additives in those pre-shredded cheeses. And I know it's an extra step, but make sure you do your own shredding, because it really does make a difference with the melt. There's some kind of additive to make sure that the cheese doesn't stick together. And then you just throw in a few dollops of the butter. All right, randomly do that. Then we're gonna make another layer of the noodles. Okay, there we go. And we spread that out. So now it's finished. We've got the third layer on, and we are just gonna add a little more salt. Remember, you can always pass it at the table. Pepper, I do love my pepper. And then the final cheese drop. So we put this, got it evenly spread all over. And remember not to tamp this down, because then it will get really condensed and it'll be like a brick. So you don't want to tamp it down. And I know I've got cheese everywhere. I spill it, and then we're gonna do the butter, and we'll just drop that, and it melts really nice and distributes. And then the last of the butter, and now the milk. Now she calls for 4 cups. That might be a bit much for this dish. The last time I made it, it took about 3.5. And all we do is just pour this over, and then I'm gonna throw it in the oven for 45 minutes to an hour. Now I like it a little crispy on top. So we're gonna check it at 45, and if it's, you know, done enough, we'll pull it out. And if you like it really crispy on top, you can always stick it under the broiler for a few minutes. But we're gonna start checking this at 45 minutes. Ta-da! There it is. Now I like it crispy on top, so I let it go for an hour. You, if you like it a little softer, might only be good for 45 minutes. So, but look at that. Is that a nice looking dish or what? And what I really like about it is it's one and done. You put it in the pan and oh, see all that goodness. It's the perfect food. I love macaroni and cheese. I love it. So it's nice, it's piping hot. I took a little bit of the crisp stuff. It's terrific. It really is. Now I made it exactly as Gladys made it, but you could do any of the additions. Sometimes I put like a little Cajun seasoning in, or I talked to my girlfriend Rennie. She likes to put in chopped jalapenos, you know, whatever you want, but that is the basic recipe. Of course, different cheeses too. So go to my website, CaseyMaloneShow.com, and look for the baked macaroni and cheese, because I really think this is a convenient way to do it without dirtying a bunch of pots and pans. And I think the perfect accompaniment, just good old lemonade. Perfect with macaroni and cheese. Go to my website, look for this recipe. You're really gonna love it.
The Casey Malone Show will be right back with more local flavor.
MyMe Global is your premier local resource for all things 3D. At MyMe, we make 3D portraits of you, your pets, and cake toppers. Or witness your child's growth year over year and get their graduation MyMe for free. Photos don't last, but a MyMe lasts a lifetime. Visit the MyMe store, located in the Round Glass building on Belmont. Get your own 3D printer, where we assemble, repair, and get it running right. We even give you a discount on materials. At MyMe, we know 3D.
I'm Elizabeth Bernard. For more than 30 years, I've provided our Valley with sound legal advice. My associate Jennifer Rigetti and I will be your legal representatives if you're involved in a car, truck, or motorcycle accident. Don't try to handle it yourself. We'll navigate the red tape of dealing with doctors, medical insurance, and all the obstacles that you'll face. Remember, there are no upfront fees on personal injury cases, and hiring a lawyer does not mean you have to go to court.
Call attorney Elizabeth Bernard, local legal experience for more than 30 years.
Locally sourced is good, whether it's ingredients or a bank, and that's why my bank is Farmers National Bank. Since 1887, Farmers has remained rock solid through every economic condition. Having a bank with a history of safety, soundness, and conservative management is a must. It all boils down to this. You need a bank that will help you reach your goals. I do too, and Farmers is mine. Farmers National Bank, rock solid.
want to help you find a ring that's as unique as your love. We'll guide you through the entire process, from deciding between natural and lab-grown diamonds, discovering the perfect stone, to finding the setting that fits your style. And with our in-store repair services, we'll make sure your ring looks stunning for years to come. Whether you're looking for timeless elegance or a modern twist, we'll work with you and your price range to find the perfect ring.
Weight loss goals aren't one size fits all. At Hurricane Health and Wellness, we understand the struggle. We've been there too. That's why we offer the most popular, effective weight loss medications at an affordable price. Look and feel your best today with Hurricane Health and Wellness.
In Newcastle is the historic Warner Cascade Museum, right here in the Riverplex. And the president of that board is Jerry Kern. How did you get this all started, and how did you acquire some of this ancient film equipment and all the history of the Warner Brothers?
It started in 1994 when I read that the Warner Brothers had opened their very first theater here in Newcastle. And shortly after that, I met Cass Warner she had just published a book on the history of the Warner family.
Yeah.
And I explained to her I had started a nonprofit, and we were going to reopen the Cascade Theater, and she wanted to be involved in the project.
What did Cass really bring to the table? Because you said she is in the movie business. Well, was. She is passed now.
Yes. She brought contacts to us, so we had kind of an open line to Warner Brothers Studio. Mm-hmm. She also brought with her a lot of the history behind the Warner family.
How many family members are left? Like the heirs and the children of the Warner Brothers and grandchildren.
The brothers were part of a family. There were 12 children.
Right.
All have passed away. And so now you even talk about Cass Warner. She's the granddaughter of Harry Warner, but like you said, she's passed away. So there really isn't any family members that have a really in-depth interest in the legacy of the Warner family.
Because you do have quite a bit of the history when they were growing up in Youngstown and stuff.
We have a lady on our board, Betty DeRicio, who is a professional research person. And she researched the whole history of the Warner family, and she shared this information with Cass. And Cass used a lot of her information when she had her second edition of her book. So there was corrections that needed to be made in the book, but it was a give and take. Cass shared some of her family pictures from her family album with us. That's what you see on our wall.
What is your funding source? Do you have a periodic fundraisers and to keep this going?
We do an annual fundraiser through the Community Foundation, and we have people who just donate. We have a donation box when you come into our museum that people put money in. The Warner family lived in a village in the Russian Empire. And they had a very authoritarian type of government. Mm-hmm. The father had to get permission from the Russian government as to what work he would do. He got permission to be a shoemaker. When they came to this country, they didn't have those restrictions on them. They were able to do, of course, it had to be legal, but they started a ton of business. Even when they were in Youngstown, they probably started at least a half a dozen different businesses before they got into the movie business. To understand the difference that different economic systems afford people. They could have stayed in the Russian Empire and lived a life of poverty, or they could come and have all these wonderful freedoms, and they could start an empire that we all know today and create a legacy that is going to live on forever.
Bob Vargo is the acting curator at the museum. And of course, if you're doing a theater museum, you better have a theater. So you have two of these.
Yes.
And these are very nice and comfortable.
They are indeed. We're grateful to Tinseltown. They donated the seating, which we had installed. And we have two theaters representing the two theaters that the Warners opened here in Newcastle, which were their first two, the Cascade Theater and the Bijou Theater.
Oh, so it's like a twin cinema here.
They were separated by another competitor in between the two.
Wow, so what do you show here?
We show films at Christmas time, We show films, I mentioned to your camera guy that we show Night of the Living Dead during Halloween.
Wow.
With some other freaky films. And we show a Sherlock Holmes series.
And that went really well.
That's our best one so far in attendance.
You have every Looney Tune cartoon.
We have all of them, yes.
I mean, that is a huge acquisition right there.
Well, it is, but it isn't. When you see how many there were, I think it comes out of about 120, 130 cartoons.
Because I never see those anymore. I mean, they were on every Saturday morning, you know.
They've been declared too violent for us to see.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we won't get into that.
What have you learned about the Warner Brothers that you did not know? I mean, a lot of people don't even realize that they were born in Youngstown, Ohio.
Well, I knew they were born here because Shai Loxton, who was a good friend of mine, whose tailor shop was in the Warner building.
Right, yes.
He told me that Jack Warner used to stop in from time to time.
Wow, and I mean, the Rayan School, they're graduates, they were athletes there.
Jack kept coming back over and over to Youngstown because he had friends here. He had 4 Warner Brothers who were the heart and soul of Warner Brothers films, and they're all exceptional people.
People have got to just come and see this because I don't think they realize how entwined, you know, Youngstown and Newcastle are with Hollywood and really the beginning of the film industry.
This is a call out to the city of Youngstown. As you enter the city from all 4 directions, there should be a plaque that says,
Home.
Boyhood Home of the Warner Brothers.
You know what, I'm gonna get on that.
There's only one plaque and it's downtown, you can't even see it. It's on the boulevard there in the middle, across from Powers. When it's done, each wall will have its own genre. A lot of the genres the Warners created. The gangster film, exclusively a Warner thing.
Shocking.
Yeah.
Coming from Youngstown and Newcastle.
Well, Youngstown, hell. Jack was a member of a teenage gang, so.
Really?
Yeah.
See, there's all these fun facts that you will find out when you visit this museum.
We will talk your ear off when you come.
The Casey Malone Show is sponsored in part by Denise and John York and the DeBartolo Corporation.